the inflammation stage, honestly, is a walk in a park. And it's not a walk in the park as in it's comfortable, but it's the easiest one to deal with because you can figure out the triggers that allow the skin to feel very heated and inflamed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skin Deep podcast. This is your go-to source for everything skin health and self-care, especially when it comes to eczema, dermatitis, and other skin sensitivities. I'm your host, Mekisha Banks. It has been a long time since I recorded a podcast or loaded anything. I'm not going to lie. I took some time off because I really needed to just focus on myself. And that is the purpose of why I decided to do season 2 or start recording again, so I can really give some realistic information about how the skin healing journey happens when you have eczema or TSW, or you had autoimmune issues, or your skin was affected by your stress. Like, those are a combination of different things that I've been dealing with over the last 6 months, but really my journey has been going on for about a year and a half. And I'm not going to lie, I thought I was over. I thought it was going on, like I am done, everything is going to be great. But I honestly didn't. It really took a turn for, I would say, for the worse for a little bit until it started getting better. But that's the purpose of today's episode, season 2 of the Skin Deep podcast, is so that I could really just, regain control of myself and really focus on my health and then come back in a better way. So I am in a different location. This is like a little digital background, so please bear with me until I figure out how to get my background or just get a little bit more solid in my, my recording space. I left my home from doing this because I found recording at home was more stressful than actually productive. So that's why I'm really getting out of the house. So again, this episode today is 5 things that helped me, or 5 things that I've been focused on that's been helping me on my skin healing journey. And I really hope that these 5 things give you a little bit of clarity. It gives you hope, but it also gives you some understanding of that they are important in order for you to, I wouldn't say fast track, because I don't believe in fast healing any longer. I believe in conscious healing. I believe in grounded healing. So I hope this is going to help you in terms of, healing on the right path. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so going for the first one, healing has its own pace. I am not going to deny it. I thought my healing was going to be like, boom, 6 months and then we're all done. And to really find out it's not. Healing has its own pace, and it's because it's different layers. I've talked about in previous episodes that some areas are healing faster than some other areas, and it's very, very true. I found there's certain different parts of my body where I found like it was much more scaly, it was irritated, it was inflamed, and then some other areas of my body, it was completely smoothed out and just discolored. I found some areas were very dry and scaly and patchy. So it's one of those things that you just have to realize that not every area on your body is at the same pace and timing when it comes to your healing. You do have to give yourself the allowance of allowing all areas to catch up, but to treat all areas on your body a little bit different than the other. Some areas you may not have to, moisturize and, apply your products. Some areas you do need to moisturize and apply products. So you have to kind of give yourself that balance, and that, there's a certain word I'm looking for, but you have to give yourself allowance to let your body heal different areas faster than others. Even my feet, I thought that was probably one of the most scary parts, and I'm going to talk about that, where it honestly started getting worse and everywhere else was started getting better. So it's just like I had to allow myself to just say, you know what, whatever area needs to go at whatever pace, it's going to do it. And I need to allow myself to have patience and be supportive of my body in all the different ways. So that's why it was just like, I just wasn't expecting to have another winter season of being, in this possible, not really feeling good and feeling good, time. And I was just I was depressed. I was depressed and I was having anxiety. I was having panic attacks. I was having PTSD, and it was getting really bad. And it's to the point where I just couldn't function. I couldn't function at all because I was just like, I should be already healed by now. Why is this taking long? Why is it getting worse again? Why is other areas of my body getting worse? And it was sad. It was really saddening to me, and I felt like I failed myself. And that's the reason why I just had to shut down everything. Like, I stopped everything. The only thing that I was doing was getting up to go to work, packaging product sales for customers, and that's it. I didn't take on interns. I didn't take on even talking to my business partner. I didn't take on, family gatherings, friend gatherings. I didn't do anything. I just stopped because I felt like I was over pushing myself and I knew my body wasn't ready for it. My mind was. And that's the sad part. Your mind will play that trick on you as like, hey, we should be good. What's wrong? But your body's like, no. Like, I need time. So that's where I was last winter, which was 2025, because it was a year later from my initial skin blow up, as you call it, and that's when I was like, okay, it's a year later. We're still kind of dealing with some things. We're not in the inflammation stage. So I definitely was happy about that. I wasn't in the inflammation stage. I was clearly in stage 3 going into stage 4. And that's where I was just really, frustrated, because I felt like the inflammation stage was the worst stage. It's not. No. The inflammation stage is probably the easiest one. It's probably the easiest one. And if you don't remember what I mean by the different stages of skin healing, this is something I'm really passionate about, but it's in different episodes in season 1. So please just go ahead and find those episodes and you'll see. And I'll even put it in the show notes of which episode it is about the skin healing journey in terms of the 4 different stages. But yes, the inflammation stage, honestly, is a walk in a park. And it's not a walk in the park as in it's comfortable, but it's the easiest one to deal with because you can figure out the triggers that allow the skin to feel very heated and inflamed. And again, you just go ahead and stop eating those things that are triggering you. You can stop doing the things that are triggering you. But when you're going in more of that stage where your skin is healed, so there's no inflammation, there's no broken skin, it's flaking and discolored, but you're now in the stage where you're in the remodeling stage and you are creating new skin cells so that it's the new skin. It's the clear skin, your original skin tone, not the dark and patchy, discolored, hyperpigmented, PIH type of skin. It is you now creating the new original skin and skin texture that you're used to. This is the hardest. And the reason why it's the hardest is because your body still remembers what you did in inflammation stage. So it's used to you scratching at nighttime. It's used to you scratching in the morning time. It's used to you scratching when you have a thought that triggers you emotionally. It's used to you doing, feeling irritated. You can't sleep. So it's like you're almost reenacting old behaviors when you don't really need to, because your body is not, like, you technically know you don't have the issue, but your nervous system is still holding on to the behavior. Frig, that's hard. And I'm saying it out loud because I kid you not, there's days I'm fighting with myself. I'm just like, what's wrong with me? I know I'm fine. I know I'm okay, but I can't get rid of this pattern, this habit, this consistent itching when I don't need to itch. So that's why I had to shut down from everyone, because I felt like I really had to reprogram my brain. And I couldn't reprogram it still talking to people. I couldn't reprogram it still doing things with other people. I couldn't be re-triggered trying to stop triggering, if you know what I mean. Like, you can't do both. You can't be in a place where you get triggered and then say I should not get triggered. You have to reprogram your body. So that means you have to stay away from things that trigger you. So that's what it was hard. And that's what I realized, that the pace of healing has its own pace, because dealing with PTS triggers, nervous system triggers, and all of those, it takes time to unpack them. It takes time to rebuild new habits. It takes time to do any of that, especially when you're crying at night and you're hurt and you're just feeling alone. And really, it's just your body's discharging and you're thinking you're crazy, but it's just decharging so that you can clear the slate. So that's one thing I realized. Your healing journey takes its own pace. So that's one thing you have to realize. It's not, okay, I give this 6 months. Your body's like, yeah, I'll give you 9. I'll give you 9. How about that? So that's one thing. All right, now we have the next thing. So the next one I wrote down was finding the blind spots in my healing journey. So finding the blind spots is actually pretty hilarious because again, we get so excited that, we're already ahead of the curveball, if you will. We're ahead of, our healing journey, but then we don't realize that actually there are some blind spots that are making us take 3 steps back before we take 1 step forward, or 6 steps backwards and then we take 2 steps forward. So it's one of those like dancing kind of games where you're almost looking at it from a perspective that you feel great. You're like, yeah, everything's amazing. So you're just like going. And then all of a sudden something makes you feel like you're crashing and burning and starting from scratch. And that happened to me in different times. Like I felt like, I had 2 great days or 3 great days of like amazing. My skin felt great. My body felt good. I wasn't getting triggered. I was eating great. Like I just felt amazing. And then it's like you slip. You're like, oh, I can have that chocolate bar, or I can have a little bit more, bread today, or I have a little bit more of, I'll sleep in or sleep up or stay up a little bit. And then all of a sudden it comes for you like 2 days later. It reaps its rewards. You planted those seeds and now it's here to reap its rewards. And yeah, that's when you crash and you're like, I thought I was doing great, but you got so excited. You did a couple of things that weren't good. And then that momentum is halted. And this one still gets me today. This one still gets me because it's the ego of us that doesn't want to let go of bad behaviors. Ooh, yeah, that was great. The ego in us that does not want to let go of bad behaviors. And my bad behavior is having sometimes a little bit too much chocolate once in a while, or having a little bit more bread, or staying up. Yeah, those 3 things. We love our carbs, but we realize we shouldn't have them. We stay up and, wanting to TV binge, Bridgerton's or something, okay? Doesn't matter what it is. We're watching something and we're like, oh, we should be sleeping. And then the next day it hits us. It hits us hard because we clearly didn't realize we need to dopamine reset. The ghrelin hormones is going crazy because we didn't get enough sleep, so our body could just detox and to flush out toxins and rebalance ourselves. And then before you know it, the next day you want to eat everything in sight. Your skin is itching you feel irritable, your nervous system is out of whack because you did a couple of things that followed up, piled up, and then now your body's like, okay, now I have to try and get rid of all of this out of me. And it's because we didn't stick to our discipline. So that's one thing I realized as I found my blind spots of what was hindering my progress and what I need to do to fix it. And it's a little bit defeating because we feel like we don't have a life. We're like, where's my freedom? Where's my freedom? I realized you can get the freedom after you have the discipline. It's like we want all of the cake and to eat it, and on top of it, the cappuccino and all. Oh, no, we can't have all of that. We literally need to have the discipline. And the discipline is asking us to first fully commit to this plan of making sure our body is 100% healed. And then after that, we can go ahead and enjoy the fruits of our labor. But we can't be at 90%. And we're like, yeah, that's good. We're there. And then it's like, no. That other 10% is very necessary for this finishing of this full cycle. And that's what I realized that I have to stop. And I'm in that process right now, still working on those blind spots. I'm still working on them. I'm not going to deny it. I'm still there working on them. Right. So now we're on to the third one. The next one is taking a step back from my career. This one is a little bit harder to admit because, you know, you still have goals, you still have the things that we want. And yet it's like life is telling us, no, you need to stop. And it's hard to do that. You know, like how do you make a living or, you know, go after the things that you really truly are passionate about, but you can't physically. Physically, you can't. Mentally, your brain is still on go, but physically, you just cannot get up. You cannot do anything. And that's what made me even more depressed. That's what made me even more sad. It made me feel like a failure because I was like, I really have a goal. I really have this in mind that I want to help people with their skin. But like my body was like, you can't help nobody. You can't even help yourself. You can't help yourself. Okay. So you can't help anyone else until you help yourself first. And that is the biggest lesson for anyone. Like you can't help people to be financially free if you're not financially free. You can't tell people to correct their life with certain goals or certain attributes if you don't have those attributes or haven't achieved them, because otherwise you're just kind of a fraud, right? It's not to say that you can't help them a longer journey, but you can't necessarily say this is how you fix it if you haven't fixed it yourself. So that's where I feel like I'm at that point where for me personally, I was like, I can't help other people if I can't help myself yet. If I have to help myself right now in order for me to help other people. I may not be 100% clear of, you know, my eczema or my skin, concerns, but I know that I am at a point where I can help someone that might be in the inflammation stage. You know, I can help someone that might be in the proliferation stage. But I know for sure I'm at that momentum, and I couldn't help anyone at the previous time because it just felt like I was backtracking so much that I just couldn't help. I couldn't help anyone. I couldn't speak to anyone about it. So that's where I was. I stopped my career. I stopped doing things. I stopped attending things. I literally just did the bare basics just to keep my business going. And right now I feel like I'm picking up that momentum again right now because I realize like I really have to get this out of me. It's like a song that you need to sing, you know? If you don't sing the song, it's like you're dying inside. So that's the reason why I took a pause so that I can just mentally, physically, and emotionally help myself and heal myself. And that way I can come back to a better place to help other people. So that's where I am right now, but I did have to take a pause. And the unfortunate part is, you know, in the industry or just in general, the myth is that if you work so hard at your career, then you can take a break and live life. But no, like it's no longer happiness. It's no longer fun for you. You know, yes, there's accolades. There's so many things that we can do and to strive for, but that eventually you just hate it. You eventually have resentment towards it because it has made you sick. And that's literally what happened to me. You know, going full time in my business, I was literally going sick. I was getting sicker and sicker because I was over striving, overworking, burning out, burning the candle at both ends. And it's just, you can't do that. It's not sustainable. No matter what anyone tells you, it's not sustainable and it's not healthy. So that's why I had to say, nope, I'll take a step back. If the business is supposed to be there, awesome. If I have to close it, awesome. I just need myself. I need to be happy. I need to be healthy. And I need to be free of this bondage that I put on myself because I just had this vision of what an entrepreneur looks like. But that vision is actually what burns people down. So that's what I had to do. All right, so that's third. The fourth one is, I think I kind of put number 2 and number 3 together. Respecting my body. That was one thing I did have to do. It's respect my body. So I was talking about that in conjunction with finding the blind spots. So it's, you know, the food portion was the main thing and the sleeping portion was the main thing in terms of respecting my body. When you're scratching at when you're supposed to be sleeping at nighttime, you were getting up in that, that histamine dump window. Your body almost remembers that, it remembers that time, and it's hard to skip it. It's hard to, try to sleep through it, especially if your body remembers doing the action of waking up and staying awake. And then you don't get to sleep until like 3 o'clock in the morning. So it was really trying to respect my body of making sure that I try to get to sleep by 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. and sleep as much as I can before it tries to trigger and wake me up. And when it did try to trigger and wake me up, I did wake up, but I would always, try to do something to help me get back to sleep and back into the ease of sleep. So that's what I was doing, is trying to respect my body. And it's still at this point where I'm still trying to do that balancing game, because again, like I said, we have a mind that has programmed things that we did in the past when we were in our 20s or when we were in our 30s or when we're in our teens, whichever, walk of life you're at right now. Your body remembers what you did. So now when your mind remembers what you did. But when your body right now is saying, okay, I'm in my 40s, because I am, we no longer can do the things that we used to do when we were 20s. And so you want to keep trying to do it, but your body keeps telling you, no, sweetie, we can't do that. So it's like you have to, like I said, you have to unpack all of these programs, these patterns, these habits that we've had for decades, and reprogram your body and your mind as well. And it's a very hard battle. It's not very easy at all. So that's where I felt like I had to, stop and respect myself, say no to people. Say no to people. That is the hardest thing to do when you are always a people pleaser. Now it's like, nope, sorry, I can't. Too bad. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what your problem is. I care about myself. And that's what I had to really respect and come to terms with. I had to come to terms with that. Okay, so now the fifth one is, what am I doing now? Whew. What am I doing now? I'm very happy with who I am right now. I'm very, very happy. There's days where I'm not. I'm not going to deny it. I would say 5 out of 7 days, I'm happy with myself. 2 days, I'm not. And the 2 days are the hard days where it's like, I have to get going to work and my body's scared. Like I was scared to go to work before because I realized that's where I was overworking myself. I'm scared, on the Saturday because again, going to work and it's the end of the week and I don't know, it's just all of the week momentum piled up on the Saturday. So, I find there's certain days that I know are my triggering days, and I'm still working through those days to have a better balance and feel more ease. I do have new modalities that I'm practicing to help me through my days. I do Tai Chi in the morning, where it's very slow, methodical movements, focus on your breath, focus on breathing. I do yoga, hot yoga, almost 5 times a week, and I'm not going to lie to you, that saved my life. Hot yoga saved my life. And I've seen so many people that have recovered from eczema, and it's the same thing for them. Yoga has saved their life. And it's because yoga puts you in a place of being uncomfortable and accepting it and making yourself say it's okay and breathing through that discomfort and then releasing it. And those practices, those rituals of moving and breathing, accepting and healing and allowing and listening to your body, I try to carry that throughout my day, every day. I try to do it even when I'm not at hot yoga. Like, I wish I could do hot yoga for 5 hours. I wish I could just stay in there. And it's just so bad because it's just that's what I would do. I honestly would do it, but I can't. So I'm like, maybe I should just install a sauna in my house, which I will. I will be doing that very shortly, so I'll let you know about that. But it's just that's what I would do. I would stay there. I would just go to hot yoga every single day because what it did for me mentally, physically, and emotionally, it's remarkable. Like I've cried in yoga sessions. I've cried just sitting there. I know it's discomforting when you're sweating and your body is like, I cannot handle this. It is crying out, but it's through going through those motions and that pain and releasing that pain is how you get through the days when you're not in hot yoga, but you remember what it's teaching you. You will get through those days or those nights in the middle of the night or early morning or whatever time it is where you're in pain and you just want to scratch the living crap out of yourself. You hate yourself. You're just upset at yourself and upset at your body. But through doing that practice in yoga, you remember, actually, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's just a little bit of discomfort. It's a little bit of, memories that I had, and I just need to kind of get through it. Right? Now, I don't necessarily suggest doing hot yoga when you are in the inflammation stage. You may want to wait until the inflammation stage has calmed down before you start doing hot yoga. In the beginning, in the inflammation stage, I focus on just breath work, like box breathing, walking very slowly, and sleeping. That's what I focused on in the inflammation stage. Right now, because I'm in that proliferation and remodeling stage, right now I'm trying to unpack, like I said, the nervous system triggers and patterns and habits. And that's through going through the hot yoga so that I can stop my body from thinking I have an emergency or there's something scary or triggering or threatening. And I can move slowly, breathe slowly, and release that program, that neural program that's happened in my brain. And it's just so remarkable to see how powerful our bodies are in terms of our nervous system. Our nervous system is so darn powerful. We are powerful just as much, like our brain is, and our awareness behind our nervous system is very powerful. But it's just like working with it and seeing what's happening and reprogramming it. It's a lot of work, but it is rewarding, and it's the only way you're going to get through this. It's the only way you're going to get through. You can't go around. You got to go through. You got to go through. So that was one thing. In terms of what I'm doing is hot yoga. I am walking a lot. I'm walking a lot more than I did before. I touch trees every time I'm walking, just to reground my energy and recenter my electrical system, again, our nervous system. But I'm walking a lot. Forest bathing, when you are in your house, it is a death trap. Okay? The energy that is still circulating in the quantum field around you, it can be very defeating. It can bring you down. It can pull you in and make you feel like there's nothing worth living. You're done. That's why you have to get out of your house. You have to get out of your home. You have to get out of the room. You have to get out of the bed, and you have to go for a walk. You think sitting still sometime is going to be actually more beneficial. Let me tell you, it's not. It's not always the case. You do have to get yourself moving and shifting and moving the energy. So that's where I was walking almost every other day, every day, or every week, whatever I could do, especially because it's like winter time in Canada. So it's like you can't go for a walk all the time in the snow, but I tried my very best. And that's why if I couldn't go for a walk, I went for hot yoga, because that was my easiest way of grounding myself and moving the energy without freezing to death outside. So that was my other thing. Mentally, the things that I have written down, I had to say no to a lot of people. I had to tell people no. I had to respect my boundaries. I'm so sorry about the background. It keeps glitching and flickering, but this is what I could do versus having a black background at this studio that I'm at. So sorry, but we'll figure it out soon for our next videos. But yeah, I had to say no. I had to respect my own boundaries. And that's hard as a people pleaser, an empathic person, or a healer. Most of the people that do have eczema issues are those same kind of people, the autoimmune issues. That's what a lot of empathic people deal with, because we're so busy trying to give to other people, depleting our body, and then we find different ways to help ourselves. And that could be through eating, through sugar, whatever the case is, to try and cope with ourselves. But what I'm trying to say is, like I had to start saying no. I had to start saying no to going to people's functions or invitations anywhere or to what people wanted from me, even at work. I just had to say no to everything. And if you feel guilty for a bit, you're like, what am I doing? Why am I saying no? And it feels bad. You feel very much, useless. But it's not. It's more so like I'm saying no to them so I can say yes to myself. I cannot handle more than sometimes a 10-minute conversation with a person for a bit because I'm draining. When you are with other people, you're giving of your cup, you're giving of your energy. And if you don't even have enough energy because you didn't sleep last night due to your histamine dump, there's no way you can sit around other people and have a conversation for hours and think that it's not going to affect you tomorrow or later on that day. So I had to start saying no to people. I had to say, no, I can't go out. I'm sorry, I can't go anywhere. And it felt like I was shutting down the world, but I kind of was. I was shutting out the world for a little bit because I needed myself. I needed to be free of what's going on with me. So, I felt bad and I said sorry to everyone that I was shunning, but I just didn't care. I didn't care because at the end of the day, look what's going on with me. Look what's going on with me, and with you, you're okay. Maybe you're not, maybe you're having your own kind of issue, maybe they are. But at the end of the day, it's like I needed to heal myself. I needed to come to a better place within myself in all different aspects. And if that meant that I couldn't see people, no problem. Even work, I had to start saying, once a month, I had to give myself the whole entire weekend, to myself. I know some people may not be in that position to do it, but I think you can. I think you can try. But I gave myself me day weekends, not just me days. It was me weekends. And it was just one day I was binge watching TV and sleeping. The other day I was working out, going and taking my walks. The next day I was reading, sleeping. Like it was a mixture of a whole bunch of things, but I gave myself the weekend to just like take care of me. And it was important for me to do that. And I think that's what made a drastic difference as to why the past winter season in Canada didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. A lot of other people, it was messing with them. For me, it was better. The year before last year, so meaning 2024, going into 2025 winter, oh, I think that thing ate me up. I think the winter ate me up and spat me out. And I was bad. It was bad. But this past winter, meaning going from 2025 going into 2026, it was great. I could tolerate it because I gave myself those weekends. I gave myself those days. I did more self-care. I said no to everybody. I stayed, focused on my food, my eating. I just zeroed in on me. And that's what's made a massive, massive difference for me. So, this is my first episode of season 2. I'm so thankful that you're here listening to me. I hope that if anything that I said today gave you some kind of support, gave you some kind of, insight, clarity, just anything, encouragement to, do things for you. And also just so that you can understand that you're not alone in this. You're another person that's going through this, and it is going to get better as long as you take those steps to really focus on your health. I think, you'll see a brighter day much sooner than later. And, I'm going to be going through a lot of different things of what I did, even going deeper in each one of these on each episode. And I'm going to start interviewing people again, slowly and surely, but definitely just wanted to come back on and start expressing myself again, because I feel like this is definitely going to help someone else in the long run. So I hope that this is helping you. Again, this podcast is sponsored by Everbella. Everbella is a natural skincare company that helps people with their products for their skin. It's all natural. It's vegan, paraben-free, synthetic-free, and there's different, products that are available there that can help you in terms of supporting your skin in your journey. So you can definitely look at the show notes to see what product might work for you. There is a skin quiz on the website, so if you want to figure out what is the best product because you don't know which one to choose, you just click on that top right-hand button at the top that says Skincare Quiz, and it'll go through a series of questions that will let you know what products are best for you to try and use. And we also have trial sets as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that you are here. But again, as always, your beauty starts with self-care. And my name is Mekisha, and I'll see you in the next episode. Show you my love. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in to the Skin Deep podcast. Don't forget to download your free guide to our 10 hacks to great skin. Just check the link in our bio. I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Have an amazing day, everyone, and enjoy your self-care Sunday.